Here's how to make homemade caramel, and I'm going to give you all my tips. First of all, you need to choose the right pan. So I'm using this tall, light coloured, heavy bottom pan. It doesn't need to be tall, but I feel much safer using a tall pan because the caramel can get very hot and splatter. It also helps me in lighting colour so that you can see the caramel change colour. So I add the water and sugar to the pan. I use my spatula to push the sugar underneath the water. Then I turn the heat onto medium and leave it. Once it starts boiling, you don't whisk it or mix it or anything like that. The only time I touched the pan was to turn it around. That was just because I felt like the heat was reaching one side more than the other. It took exactly 8 minutes for it to turn an amber colour. You have to keep a very close eye on it because it can burn in seconds. I always say once it starts to smell like caramel and it's turned in colour, then it's ready. You take it off the heat. Then we add room temperature unsalted block butter. Let that melt for a couple of seconds. Then it's time to add the double cream. I didn't have any fresh double cream in stock, so I used the Elmley. It worked just as well and tasted just as good. Make sure the double cream isn't too cold when you add it because it can cause the mixture to seize. Just pour it in really slowly whilst whisking. Keep mixing until it all comes together nicely. I also added a dash of vanilla extract, and then if you want to transform homemade caramel into salted caramel, you just add a bunch of salt. You can store the caramel in an airtight container, preferably glass, and this will store in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. If you leave it to set overnight, it does thicken up, and then you can reheat it to bring it back to a nice runny consistency. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you try this.